Alright, let's practice some sentences. I'm going to prompt you with English sentences based on the grammar from Unit 1, Lesson 7, and it's going to be your job to try to translate those sentences into Korean. In Lesson 5, you learn how to conjugate. In Lesson 6, you learn how to apply those conjugations to different formalities. In Lesson 7, you'll learn how to apply those conjugations to different irregulars. Because of this, the videos for Lessons 5, 6, and 7 don't really focus on increasing sentence complexity, but more on the conjugations themselves. The first sentence I would like you to try is, the clothes are dirty. And let's try conjugating that using the informal high respect form. I'll give you 10 seconds and you can start now. Okay, the word for clothes in Korean is 옷. There is no real way in Korean, especially for just random objects like this, to indicate plurality. I'll add the subject marker 은 to say 옷은. Now, the adjective to be dirty in Korean is 더럽다. 더럽다. Now, if I want to add the informal high respect conjugation to this, I should add this to it. Now, if this gets added to the stem of 더럽다, this letter here is actually going to be removed. And what I'm going to end up with is 더, 러, and then this letter actually changes into u. And now this ending gets added directly to this. So I'm actually not going to add this, and instead I'm going to add this thing directly to the stem. So it's going to say 더러워요. This sentence would read 옷은 더러워요. I want to point out that even though I added this indicator 은 here, it would also be possible and also be very common to say 옷이. Actually, the first time I made this lesson 7 sentence video, I actually got into why I would say 옷이 더러워요 compared to why I would say 옷은 더러워요. I realized it actually detracted from my sentence videos because it wasted too much time, and I really just want to focus on making sentences, and I don't want to focus on teaching the grammar within the sentence. If you want to learn about why you would say 옷이 compared to 옷은 in this particular sentence, I talk about this in great depth in lesson 17, and I highly suggest you read that if you really want to get into why these two might be different. The second sentence I would like you to try is, I am hungry. Then let's translate that using the informal high respect form. I'll give you 10 seconds and you can start now. Okay, because this is a high respect conjugation, I'm going to use the subject 저 to refer to I. I'll put the subject marker here. Now, the adjective in Korean to be hungry is 배고프다. And if I want to add the informal high respect conjugation to this, again, just like I saw up here, I want to add this or this to it. Now, in this case, this letter completely gets eliminated, and this would be added to it. So I would have 배고파요. And the sentence would read, 저는 배고파요. The third sentence I would like you to try is, that problem is different. And let's conjugate this again using the informal high respect form. I'll give you 10 seconds and you can start now. Okay, the subject of the sentence is problem, and the way to say that in Korean is 문제. That's the subject, so I will include this. Specifically, it's that problem, so I want to say 그 문제. I could also say 저 문제 if it's talking about a problem that I can see, maybe that it's written on the board or something like that. Now I want to indicate that it is different. The adjective to be different in Korean is 다르다. And again, I'm adding the informal high respect conjugation, so I'll be adding this again. So I will add either this or this. Now, in this case, you might be saying, and this is actually a mistake that lots of beginners of Korean make, they say, oh, Mr. How to Study Korean, I know this conjugation. If something ends in this letter, this letter, that simply gets eliminated, and either this or this will replace that sound in this stem. Well, actually, that's incorrect. If a stem ends in the syllable r, what happens is this letter actually also gets added on here. So a very common mistake when conjugating this would be just simply to say ta, ra, yo. But that's an incorrect way to write this, and also, of course, an incorrect way to pronounce it. That would be correct if in this particular case, but anytime the final syllable is r, you have to follow a different rule, which is to start with what you started with, and then again that letter also gets added here, and then you see this happening later. To say not 달아요, but 달라요. This sentence would read 그 문제는 달라요. The fourth sentence I want you to try is I know that teacher's age. And let's conjugate that using the formal high respect form. I'll give you 10 seconds and you can start now. Okay, again, the subject of the sentence is I, so I will write this here. I want to indicate that I know something, so know is going to be at the end, but the object of the sentence is that teacher's age. The word for age in Korean is na-i. Na-i. That's the object, so I'm going to include the object particle r here. I want to indicate that I'm referring to the teacher's age. I could use the word 선생님, but I actually taught you another word for teacher in lesson 7, so I'll specifically use this word here, but you could use 선생님 if you wanted to. I will use the word that you learned in lesson 7, which is 교사, and I want to use this particle to indicate that I'm talking about something of that particular teacher, so it's the teacher's age. But it's not just I know a teacher's age or I know the teacher's age, it's I know that teacher's age. The word for that we saw up here is 그. You also could say 저 if you wanted to. Now I want to indicate that I know the teacher's age using the verb to know, which is 알다. The stem or the dictionary form is 알다. But if I want to add the formal high respect ending, I need to add either 씁니다 or add this letter followed by 니다. Now, in this case, usually, as you know, 씁니다 gets added to verbs and adjectives where the stem ends in a consonant, and this does end in a consonant. However, if the stem ends in a consonant and it's this letter gets eliminated and this gets added directly to it. So what I should write is not 알 씁니다. That would be incorrect. What I want to write is 니다. And this whole sentence would read 저는 그 교수의 나이를 압니다. The fifth sentence I would like you to try is I heard a beautiful sound. At this point, you haven't learned the word for sound yet, but I would like to teach you this word before you even start the sentence. The word for sound in Korean is 소리. And let's conjugate this using the informal high respect form. I'll give you 10 seconds and you can start now. Okay, the subject is I, so I'll write this first. The object of the sentence that I am hearing is a sound, so I need to write the word 소리 with the object particle 르 to indicate that that's the object that I heard. Now I need to indicate that it's not just a sound, but a beautiful sound. The dictionary form of the word beautiful is 아름답다. 듣다. And if you want to indicate that you're describing an upcoming noun, you knew from a previous lesson that you should add this to it. If this gets added to an adjective or a verb where you see this irregular, this gets eliminated just like I saw up here. And this gets added to the oo that gets formed to it. So this whole thing would actually form as a, dum, ta, un. And this would allow me to describe an upcoming noun. Now I want to indicate that I heard this sound, or I heard this beautiful sound. The verb to hear in Korean is 듣다. And if I add this past tense to it, because I'm adding a vowel, this letter here is going to change to this letter. So what I need to write to begin with is this, followed by the past tense addition, which would be this, and then followed by the informal high respect conjugation of yo. And this whole sentence would read, 저는 아름다운 소리를 들었어요. Well, that was fun. I hope you learned a lot.